Good afternoon. It is Monday. Yeah, Monday. It's been a while since I did a weekday walk talk, but thought I'd come on and talk to you guys a little bit. You know, I was recently reading in the book of Jeremiah, and I saw some stuff in there that made me think about how does this, I mean, it so obviously fits to the idea of the weight loss journey, right? It so obviously fits. So many things from the Bible. I don't know if it's just my own eyes that see it, but so many stories, so many parables, whatever, they fit. It just fits the life that we're trying to live here, to live a healthy life. It just fits with very little effort. It's not even like I'm cramming it in there to try and make it work. It fits of its own accord. But anyway, chapter 31 I was reading, and there was a parable in the middle of that chapter that kind of, like, I was like, isn't this the thing, right? Isn't this what has enabled us to be in the position we're in, this parable? But just for some context, in the book of Jeremiah, you could see that the people of Israel are living a life outside of God's will. And they have been doing so for generations. And so long that they've been doing it that, you know, it's human nature to want to believe that you aren't the cause of your own problems. It's human nature. And it's so much so human nature in their case, in this story, that of that time, there was a parable. And that parable went, the parents eat the sour grapes, but the children's mouths pucker. And so, so the parents eat the sour grapes, but the children's mouths pucker. So in other words, the parents did something wrong and the children are paying for it. So they had been living outside of God's will for so long that they were telling themselves it's not their fault, the life that they're living, it's their parents' fault. But how, when you look around in 2026, and you look specifically at the health and fitness community, right? All of the people in the world trying to become healthy. We live in 2026 and those people are being enabled. And this is not news. I've said this 1,000 times, right? But they are being enabled, and the term hereditary is thrown around like it just applies to everything, right? Like, your parents did wrong, and that's why you're in the position you're in. In other words, in our language, it's your genetics. That's why you're in the health position you're in. It's your genetics. It has nothing to do with what you are doing. That's the kind of world we live in right now. A world where the medical community will find reasons that it's genetic rather than reasons to help you fix your problems. And it's sad to say this, but in 2026, the medical community has become a very much profit-driven model. The medical industrial complex as a whole, from beginning to end, the insurance side, the pharmaceutical side, the treatment side, the provider side, all of it works together in one profit-driven cycle. You are taught things are out of your control because it makes you more acceptant of being on medication for the rest of your life. And that medication comes with side effects. And those side effects are answered not with something else that would end the side effects. It's just something to chase the side effects with something else that comes with side effects. And you end up in this cycle of chasing. And it just becomes very easy for a physician to say, well, your grandmother, your great-grandmother, your mother, your aunt, they all had diabetes. So it's obvious that's why you have diabetes. Your great-grandfather, your grandfather, your uncle, your father, they all had high blood pressure. That's why you have high blood pressure. It's outside of your control. There's nothing you can do. So, just like your parents, your cupboard opens, the door opens to your cupboard, whether it's in the kitchen or in the bathroom, and it starts with 1 pharmaceutical bottle, then 2, then 3, then 4. But you're taught that it's normal. You're taught that it's normal. This is part of aging. It's hereditary. Everything to enable your acceptance, because life is uncomfortable to believe you're the cause of your own problems. Life is uncomfortable for you to believe I'm the only one that can fix my problems. Life is uncomfortable to believe the hard work that is necessary to create for you the healthy life, and how worth it is to do that hard work. It's all necessary. But the one of the hardest things you'll have to do is the acceptance that you play a part. Your actions play a part. Your choices play a part. There are consequences to every choice you make, good or bad. And your entire bloodline may have had diabetes. Your entire bloodline may have had high blood pressure. But what if it wasn't hereditary in the sense that it's being pushed? And what if the behavior that creates the medical problem is actually what's hereditary? What you grew up eating and totally believing to be normal, what if that is what creates the bloodline of endless diabetes, the bloodline of endless high blood pressure, congestive heart failure? What if it's the behavior that creates it? It would take a really hard look at yourself. And you have to know what you're capable of. None of us is perfect, right? You have to know what you're capable of. And we've tried 1,000 times and it just doesn't work. And now we have a world where people are using drugs to get them there. And then they're realizing after a certain period of time, specifically people who do not change their behavior, they are getting to a point where the weight starts to come back. And the answer isn't, again, to change the lifestyle. The answer instead is to up the dosage. Up the dosage. Let's up the dosage. Make it higher. And then they'll get to the maximum dosage, but the weight is still coming on, because the source of the problem stares back at you in the mirror. The source of the problem would rather believe that it's in the bloodline and it's hereditary than to believe that they are in complete control. And whatever they are weak in, that there's a higher power that would help them through it. It's a lot to swallow. It's a lot to swallow. But no, everyone knows we're not capable of everything. Everyone knows that we're not 100% disciplined. No one can be. No one is 100% in 100% of the time. It's nonsense to believe it. It's as much nonsense to believe there's one person that's 100% in 100% of the time as it is to believe that these medical conditions are hereditary. All nonsensical to believe it. If things hereditary, I should have diabetes. I should have hypertension. I should have congestive heart failure. But I don't. Thank God. I don't. But it takes a hard look in the mirror to decide that, and then it takes a decision. And that decision is not, what can't I do? That decision is, what can I do? What small change can I make over a long period of time that can be built upon 8 weeks at a time? What small change can I make today that I can do consistently for the next 8 weeks? And then in the end of the 8 weeks, I can add on to it. What can I do? That's the decision everybody has to make. And you don't just make it now when you're watching me and you're feeling motivated. You make it every minute of every day. You make it when you wake up. You make it when you fall asleep. You make it when you get to work and you see that Jim brought in bagels. You make it when you get to work and you see that Mike brought in donuts. And you're saying, oh, I can't say no to these things. Why do you bring them? Or you make that decision, especially when you're telling everyone you can't succeed because everybody in your household eats whatever they want. And because of that, these things that you are weak in are in your house. And you cannot succeed with those things in your house. That's when you're deciding. Those are the moments when you're deciding whether you will succeed or not succeed. You are telling yourself, I can't succeed because of my family is not supportive. They insist on having food that is detrimental to my health. My coworkers are not supportive. They bring food every day to work. And I can't say no to it. Never once do you say, is there something in me? And where I can't say no, when I'm staring at the donuts and I can't say no, when there's the chips in my house and I can't say no, when there is somebody bringing bagels to work and I can't say no, is there someone who can help you that can say yes and be strong when you are weak? And I'm not talking about someone who walks this planet. I'm talking about God. Because where you are weak, He is strong. And if you know you're weak at home because these snacks exist at home, He can be strong at home. And your family doesn't have to change anything about what they eat. Because this is your journey, not their journey. And it doesn't mean they love you less because they're not willing to stop eating those things. They just don't have the same problems you have. It's not up to them. It's up to you. And it's up to God where you're weak. So what if, instead of putting the blame on all of your environment and taking the onus off yourself, what if you take what you can take and say, this is on me, this is where I'm weak, but you know what? Every time I'm in a situation, I'm going to say a prayer and give it to God and let Him be my strength in that moment. And what if it works? What if? I mean, you've tried every other way, right? What if adding God to the equation was the one missing ingredient all this time? I like to believe that I did this the last 7 years on my own. I believed it for a long time. But when I could see my entire life as a whole, I can see how everything was allowed to create the problem to get worse, to get worse, to get worse. All with one thing in mind. And that one thing is, He will get to the end of His excuses on this day. And God knew when I would get to the end of my excuses. He knew that on January 4th, 2019, on my 41st birthday, I'd come to the end of my excuses. He knew that. And He allowed all of the things that transpired in my life to get me to that point. it was all his design in the broad scheme of things. I thought it was me. I was a fool. Now it's so obvious on the back end of it, looking backwards, how divine my entire journey was. To be 41 years old and be able to say to the world, I was over 400 pounds for the second time in my life on my 41st birthday. And now to be 48 and to be sitting here with a 1 at the beginning of my weight, being 196 and being 200 pounds down and maintaining. Only God can do these things like this. So, make your decision today. Ask yourself, what can I do? And what am I weak in that God can help me do? It's Monday. Whatever you're doing today, enjoy your evening. I love each and every one of you. God bless you all.